From the Illinois State Capitol Rotunda, Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell is asking the tough questions. This is Capitol Connection.
Welcome to Capitol Connection. I'm Mark Maxwell reporting from the Illinois State House on this Sunday, July 5th. While our state lawmakers remain out on the campaign trail, not in Springfield now, most of the policy discussion and changes being discussed right now are happening once again in our nation's capital. That's where we join our Capitol Bureau correspondent and D.C. Bureau reporter Raquel Martin joining us there from our nation's capital. Raquel, it's great to have you back on the program here. I want to start with a question quickly that a lot of people are watching closely. We've heard President Trump and even leaders in the U.S. Senate signal support for a second round of stimulus money directly to individuals, potentially, but they're watching the economy before they take that leap because there does come a price tag with that kind of a direct payment to Americans. Do you have any read on how the jobs report that came out this Thursday or how the economy is trending generally might impact that discussion? And do you know, should Americans expect a second payment? Do we know that yet?
Well, despite the job numbers being good and seeing the White House come out in front and celebrating those numbers, Secretary Mnuchin did signal that the White House is still very open to having another round of checks. But on Capitol Hill, there is still not a consensus on that issue. But I've heard from Republicans and Democrats that they are interested in sending out a second round. I know I talked to Senator Duckworth, who said she's all in for that. But I know there is conversations on the Republican side specifically about tailoring that. So if we are going to go ahead and send families direct checks, maybe we should focus in on specifically people impacted by unemployment rather than just sending it out to everyone. But at this point, it's still a relatively new conversation. I know we passed the CARES Act weeks ago, and Democrats have been pretty aggressive about, going ahead and passing another plan. But Republicans have really been saying, let's wait and see how the first round played out. So once they get back from recess, we'll be able to get a better read on exactly if families should expect another round of checks.
Very interesting. And I want to ask you about that unemployment because it does seem to be an interesting or delicate balance. Many employers are trying to coax their workers back to the job, but while those enhanced benefits are paying them more to stay home, some of the lower wage workers are saying, I'm going to wait this out, especially considering the coronavirus risk that may be associated with returning to a small workplace and reintroducing into the workforce. So that seems to set up a rather charged debate over whether or not Congress should allow those enhanced unemployment benefits to expire. What are you hearing on that front?
Right, and that is still just another partisan debate here on Capitol Hill. Again, Republicans taking a more cautious approach, but I know Democrats, they passed a bill out of the House weeks ago that would have extended that that more expansive unemployment benefit. But right now, again, it's something that's just going to have to be a wait-and-see situation. I know right now we're seeing some hot spots pop up across the country and people who were brought back to work now being unemployed again. So Congress has until the end of the month to figure out what they're going to do, and it's largely going to rely on what we see play out here in coming weeks. Are we going to see this COVID-19 really resurge across the country, or will we be able to simmer some of the spikes we're actually seeing in some of these cities?
Yeah, the president again repeated a line that he said months ago, just this week, saying that he hopes the coronavirus will just sort of fade away. But we see the evidence in Florida to the contrary, in other states across the country. In fact, most American states right now are seeing an increase in cases, many seeing an increase in hospitalizations as well. So it seems that it's not tapering off the way many had hoped. You have to wonder how that might factor in. But also, in terms of the election, a lot of Americans know this is a big presidential election year. They're looking to November to see, and they're looking to Congress to see what changes might take place. It seems there are very few things Congress could possibly do that would be more popular with the American public than cut them a check, to give them a direct payment. Does that factor in here at all? Just the willingness or the anxiety of the American people as they look to Congress for some sort of relief? Do you think that that weighs heavy on these members of Congress's mind when they make these decisions? And what other avenues of relief around the coronavirus do you think they might look at outside of these relief payments?
Well, the stimulus checks, I'm sure, were popular with constituents across the country, so it would seem as if it would be advantageous for anyone to go ahead and say they support that. But I know, and maybe some conservative districts, lawmakers say they are concerned about overspending. So I'm not sure it would be advantageous for just any lawmaker, but it seems as if the last round of checks were popular enough where it wouldn't be as controversial. But again, a lot of lawmakers still trying to be cautious about how they move forward, and we'll see exactly if the president is on board. Will that make maybe some lawmakers want to come around? That's yet to be seen.
And maybe we're having a bit of difficulty here connecting, but of course the bill comes due someday. It's our tax money. We get the money back, but then through inflation or some other means, that money would have to be recouped by the U.S. Treasury, so it's interesting to watch. But on another big political moment that many Americans are watching, it was last week that the House passed police reform over to the Senate. That's where it seems stalled now. What are you hearing? Is there any sign of progress or of compromise in the works? Should Americans expect some movement from Congress on police reform and accountability?
Well, we did see after weeks and weeks of unrest on the streets, Congress did try to take action, but we saw Republicans and Democrats really on two different tracks, and it kind of came to head just last week. Senate Republicans tried to pass their version. It failed in the Senate, and House Democrats went ahead and pushed forward with their plan. Now, they have some things in common, but there are, some big factors that Democrats say are not included in the Republican bill. So right now, both parties have kind of just dug their heels in on this issue, and there was a lot of conversation about it last week on the Hill. Not hearing much about it now. I know lawmakers are talking about, trying to appoint some people to a leadership role to try to find some sort of compromise, come to the table. I know issues like qualified immunity have been a point of division, but we are seeing some Republicans come around and saying, let's go ahead and talk about this, but let's not put it in the larger package. We know that the president and the administration has said that qualified immunity reform is a non-starter. So right now, it seems as if the Republicans and Democrats are largely on different pages. We'll see once they come back from recess if they're going to be able to find some road towards a compromise, because we all know that people across the country are eager for something to happen in Congress when it comes to police reform.
We'll see if it can get through that mighty gavel that Mitch McConnell swings there in the Senate. Raquel Martin, our correspondent in Washington, D.C., always great to have you. She's at Raquel Martin TV on Twitter, and we look forward to continuing to watch your reporting from Capitol Hill. You can't think of a better place to have July 4th than our nation's capital. Good to see you, Raquel. Thanks for coming on.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're back in a moment with our Reporters Roundtable, Cole Henke and Emily Manley from Jefferson City, Missouri, and here in Springfield, comparing how the two states are navigating the coronavirus and the economy. We're back in a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Nissan is offering non-stop routes to summer.
And now is the best time to get into a new Nissan. Save up to $2,000 bonus cash on select models.
Looking for an Amish-crafted solid hardwood dining room table? The Woodloft in downtown Arthur always has 20 or more on the floor and is able to customize any set to include wood, stain, and style details of your choice. Visit the Woodloft in downtown Arthur.
Hi, my name is Angela Russell. I'm the marketing director at Carriage Crossing Senior Living. Our #1 priority is the health and the well-being of our residents. So we're doing virtual tours to let you see what our community has to offer from the comfort of your own home. I'll take you around the community and I will personalize a tour for you on my phone. You can either use Skype, Zoom, or FaceTime, and I'll answer any questions that you might have. Let us show you what Carriage Crossing is all about.
Now that businesses are reopening, Central Illinois knows who to call to get their lives back in order. They call Manley. Consider Manley's sanitizing and disinfection service and see if it's the right choice for you. We've been your trusted partner in the community for over 40 years.
Be happy. We all know how crazy and difficult it's been lately, so now is a great time to don't worry, be happy.
There's nothing better to make you happy than a new Honda or Hyundai from Car Capitol. We'll make you smile with great deals for everyone.
0 financing, and huge incentives are going on right now at Carback Car Capital's tent event in Danville. Don't worry, be happy.
I am crushing this to-do list.
Let me see. Smart home upgrade? Home gym?
Check.
What about the window, siding, and doors?
Cross something important off your list. Free installation on all windows, siding, and doors. And no interest for 1 year. The biggest sale of the year is here.
Free installation ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feltco.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Nissan is offering non-stop routes to summer.
And now is the best time to get into a new Nissan. Save up to $2,000 bonus cash on select models.
You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
Welcome back. Our Reporters Roundtable convenes this week from a social distance, if you will. Our Statehouse correspondent, Cole Henke, joining us from Springfield and across the Mississippi, one state to our west. Emily Manley from our Nexstar Bureau in Jefferson City, Missouri, joining us both. Cole, Emily, great to have you both with us. We want to take a look and try to understand how these two different states have tackled the coronavirus and dealt with it. It's quite a contrast. Emily, we'll get to you in just a moment, but Cole, first, there's some movement this week at the state level. Illinois casinos are starting to reopen. Last week it was the Illinois State Board of Education rolling out saying that schools will look a lot different when students return. They'll have to wear a mask. How will the casino or gaming industry look different now than maybe it did before the coronavirus closures?
Well, just by taking a look at pictures and images that were sent out from casinos and the individual video gaming parlors just around places like Springfield, you can see that there are some physical changes. You can see dividers put up between the video gaming machines or poker tables or wherever throughout, just so people aren't sitting right next to each other. There's also going to be a mask requirement, and the gaming board actually just sent out a statement today saying that if people do not, or if casinos or gaming institutions don't follow these guidelines, there will be serious consequences to dissenting on that.
Yeah, it must really help with your poker face when you can wear a mask at the table. That's an interesting development. Emily, what are some of the changes or contrasts that you've seen from Jefferson City or from the state of Missouri at large when it comes to how businesses are handling the coronavirus? Are they required to have capacity limits at this time? Are they required to have certain social distance in place? What are you seeing on the other side of the river?
So what I'll tell you is so different from literally just the state right next door is there's really not any mandates. When Governor Parson opened the state for phase 2 of the Show Me Recovery Plan on June 16th, he really didn't put any guidelines in order. So it's up to different stores, different businesses to require masks or to require social distancing. Now, the most interesting thing is masks are not required, and neither is social distancing, but during his press conferences, Parson holds 2 press conferences a week right now on Tuesday and Thursday to update the entire state of Missouri on COVID, on MoDOT, on just different things. And he says that he would like people to wear a mask when they can't be 6 feet apart. But there is nothing set in stone here as to, guess what, you have to wear a mask, you have to be socially distanced. It's really up to those businesses and those local restaurants to decide for their own. I, for one, this past week have stopped in a couple of different places in Jeff City, in Columbia, and I will tell you that each place does their own thing differently. All the restaurants that I have been in do have X's on the tables where they don't want you to sit because they want you to stay socially distanced. Some of them have signs on the door that say you must wear a mask, but others don't. So it's really up to the business owner on what precautions they want to take.
So it's interesting to look at those. We'll keep that in mind moving forward as we continue to compare and contrast the coronavirus-related data. But Cole, one state to our east in Indiana, a state that competes with Illinois when it comes to casinos and gaming and gambling, they were set to go to phase 5. They were going to advance, but the governor there, Governor Holcomb, said we're gonna press pause. We're gonna go to stage 4.5. They created this extra step there. So again, it's interesting to see the different states try to grapple with that decision between the economy reopening fast enough, but then re-inviting the surge of new cases. What have you seen in Illinois? There's the court cases challenging Governor Pritzker's authority on some of that. Are we out of the woods on that? And how would you describe Governor Pritzker's current stance, his current posture as you've seen it, as it relates to reopening the economy, bringing jobs back, bringing workers back to their places of business in this stage 4 that we're in indefinitely in Illinois?
Well, it seems like, I mean, to say that he's taking this slow approach would pretty much be an understatement at this point. That's Governor Pritzker. I mean, if everywhere is pretty much open with restrictions at this point, now that casinos are open as well. But I mean, as you see other states start to close other aspects down, that's where you kind of see the maybe the benefits of the slow approach. It's still can't tell yet if Illinois is going to have to make some of those moves. There is a push to close down bars, for instance, after even here in Springfield, there was an employee at a bar this weekend that tested positive after they let in their first crowds of phase 4. But I mean, you can see that slow approach kind of playing out positively here in the state, as states like Indiana or even Colorado even just announced yesterday that they were going to be closing down bars again. So when you're starting to see the other states have to backtrack a little bit, the slower approach from Illinois kind of looks like it would be the right move, even though you're seeing businesses speak out against it and want to get those restrictions lifted.
Yeah, we saw a question directed at Governor Parson in Missouri last week asking if he felt any personal responsibility for any rise in cases as he takes this sort of, would you call it a hands-off approach when it comes to requiring people to wear a mask when going out into public?
Very much so. I couldn't say it any better, Mark. It is very much hands-off. He is at this approach where he's saying everybody go do anything that they want on their own. I am done. We managed to make it to phase 2. Compared to Illinois that had 5 different phases for reopening here, Missouri only had 2, and we were in the 2nd phase, which was total reopening in the middle of June. So he is very much telling people, you're on your own, but he continues to tell us all in his daily every other day press conferences that people should live by the CDC guidelines. So in my mind, it's a hands-off approach, but he also is telling people to social distance and wear a mask, but not requiring it. So it's a very interesting thing here in the state of Missouri.
So Cole, one of the most populated parts of Illinois is in the Metro East area. You're familiar with that part there. We know now we're getting a better sense of the attitude, the approach to this coming from the seats of government in Missouri, in Illinois. What does that do to the culture, to the overall culture of public health in the Metro East area? Is there some carryover from the Metro East side, the way those businesses, those cities or towns may operate or may feel pressure to go along with Illinois' public health guidance?
Well, I think it has the effect of that once you start to see the Missouri side, the St. Louis side, reopen things a lot quicker than Illinois. That's when you start to see people, you know, going and doing their shopping over on the Mississippi, over on the other side of the Mississippi River, going to eat dinner over there instead of having to follow all these restrictions over on the Illinois side. I know that I've spoken with people down there who have done exactly that. And it creates a little bit of a rift in where they're thinking like, okay, well, if Missouri's doing this, why can't Illinois? Why can't these sides open? And I mean, it really showed in a group of lawmakers from the Metro East area. This was back at the beginning of phase 3, but really calling for the Metro East area and other areas in the state to really move forward in Governor Pritzker's plan before it even reached the 28 days that they were supposed to meet before they could move on to the next phase. So it caused a little bit of uneasiness, unrest, I guess, and just they had to wait to get to that next phase, that their neighbors that, frankly, you would drive 15 minutes to get across the river to St. Louis and 20 minutes to get anywhere else in Illinois. I mean, it's just about in the same area. The Metro East is closer to St. Louis than anywhere else in Illinois. So once you start to see that other side open up, you start to get a little jealous, and I think that was really what was driving it. So as the numbers start to come in a little bit more, it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic kind of changes and how the state's case numbers go up or down, whichever way.
Yeah, you mentioned, and speaking of Illinois and Missouri in contrast, we know now that the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago White Sox will be facing off in a Field of Dreams style matchup. And Cole, I don't think you and I have had a chance to engage in any good-spirited trash talk over that, so maybe that's still yet to come. But also a rare opportunity for us to compare the two different states. Cole and Emily, thank you for joining us. Emily, congratulations on your new position there in Jefferson City. We'll be watching closely as you get settled in there.
Thank you.
We're back in just a moment. Stick around.
Thousands of memories will be placed on your kitchen table. So choose one that will hold those memories longer. When you buy Wright, it stays right. Year after year, into the next generation. Wright's Furniture, making you right at home.
Visit any location and save the amount of the sales tax on our already low prices on all in-stock furniture.
If you have stress, anxiety, or depression as a result of COVID-19, you're not alone. NeuroHarmony clinical therapists offer telehealth services so you can have a private and confidential session in the comfort of your own home. Contact NeuroHarmony today.
Can bankruptcy help me save my house from a foreclosure?
Yes, bankruptcy can stop a foreclosure and let you pay off an arrearage or back taxes over 5 years. When you have a bankruptcy question, get the answers and the help you need. Go to bcyhelp.com or call Ostling & Associates, the state's largest bankruptcy-only law firm. For a free consultation, see us at any of our office locations. bcyhelp.com and Ostling & Associates, serving Illinois for 40 years.
Is your sidewalk or driveway settled? Seal-tight insulation and slab jacking is the answer. Locally owned and operated, we use polyurethane, the most advanced and successful slab jacking system available to lift your concrete. And we offer a lifetime guarantee. Raise it right with Seal-tight.
1 in 365 African Americans battle sickle cell disease. I was one of them. A blood stem cell transplant from a perfectly matched donor saved my life. Many patients are waiting to find their match. They need more Black donors to join the Be the Match registry. Learn more about becoming a donor and access free patient resources by visiting endsicklecell.org today. You or someone you know could be the cure.
Let's talk about America.
Not policies, not taxes, not tweets.
But how incredible our country is.
Left, right, urban, suburban, and rural.
We all deserve to live in a community that's clean, green, and thriving. We are Keep America Beautiful.
The nonprofit empowering people like you to take action every day at home, work, and in the community.
Visit KAB.org. Together, we can do beautiful things.
You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
The coronavirus continues to take a heavy toll on the state of Illinois' economy. We saw more than 1 million people enter the unemployment line seeking to file claims for jobless benefits. Many of those people are starting to return to work. But along the way, also, many of those job losses that we hoped were temporary are starting to become permanent. One of those stories happening just a stone's throw from the state capitol and right across from the old state capitol in downtown Springfield.
I think it was a COVID-19 crisis. You know, just kind of killed the restaurant industry. Well, not killed the restaurant industry, but kind of impacted it negatively anyway. And this business has been out for a while. It's just kind of time to, I think, close up. Since the start of June. We were hoping for more, but there's no one downtown, unfortunately, and the takeout, not as good as we were hoping. Myself, personally, about 20 years. The restaurant itself has been here for 43 years, almost 43 years now. See how it looks next year. Hopefully there will be a vaccine in place and people will be coming to the Lincoln stuff and, you know, eating out more. oh, well, we're just going to close it down. I think the owners are going to try to maybe sell it. There are a lot of restaurants, of course, for sale in the very close proximity. So I don't think they're really too keen on their chances, I guess, to sell it for what they want anyway. They opened it so 43 years ago, and then I came back to work about 20 years. It's definitely a big part of my identity, or was anyway.
I'm sure that will still remain.
I'll find something else. You know, I'm still not too old, so it'll be okay.
7 o'clock.
It is what it is, I guess. At least they do still have the unemployment thing to hopefully get them to their next job. It's kind of, just like an artifact of the virus. Businesses, restaurants that have people in close proximity, they will spread the virus, and it's understandable that they have to shut down.
The owner of the feed store told me one of their highlights was serving a meal to President Obama in 2016 when he and the Secret Service dropped in unannounced while President Obama was making his final tour of Springfield, the place where it all began for him. That's one memory that they will take with them after 40-plus years in business in downtown Springfield. 13 workers out of a job. Many other companies may face a similar fate soon. Dire straits for our economy at large and for our elected officials as they look to find ways to provide help. Oh, and before the feed store closed its doors, its owners expressed frustration at a process they described as cumbersome and not particularly helpful when applying for loans under the federal Paycheck Protection Program. We're back in a moment.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Now every Toyota hybrid vehicle is available with 0% financing. With fewer stops per gas, Toyota hybrids give you the confidence to go farther. See your dealer or shop and buy online. Right now, you can lease a new 2020 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid for $239 a month.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Green Gardens is an assisted living memory care facility that specializes in Alzheimer's and dementia care. Green Gardens is a small, fun, family-oriented community. We are taking reservations now. Call today and schedule your tour.
Tapman's Car Star would like to thank everyone who voted our business #1 for collision repair in the News Gazette's People's Choice Award. Tapman is a trusted name in collision repair. Be assured we're working even harder to remain the team you trust. Thank you.
The space to dream, to create, to build. Any room in your home can become a comfortable space that's all your own with a Carrier ductless system. There's simply nothing more efficient. With comfort controls you can set with your smartphone, filters for cleaner, fresher air, and humidity settings that are easy to adjust. It's just one more way Carrier helps make you comfortable, however you define it. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Hi, I'm Josh Michaels with Backyard Leisure. We're your hot tub experts here in Central Illinois. Our job is to help you find the perfect hot tub for you and your family. Not everybody knows that there are legitimate wellness benefits from regular hot tubbing. Of course there are physical benefits, but hot tubbers also experience mental wellness, emotional wellness, even relational wellness by spending improved time with the people they love. Come see us at 1434 Wabash Avenue here in Springfield. I'm Josh at Backyard Leisure. Hot tub, you need it.
That does it for us this week. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll tune in again at the same time next Sunday. For Capital Connection, I'm Mark Maxwell.